Welcome to Quizy class. Today's challenge is to guess 70 sport pictograms in just 5 seconds per image. Can you guess them all correctly? Some will be easy, but others might really test your knowledge. Think you can guess them all? Let's get started. What's the name of this sports pictogram? That's football. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's boxing. What's this sport pictogram called? That's cross-country skiing. What's the name of this sports pictogram? That's climbing. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's rowing. What's this sports pictogram called? That's shooting. Can you name this sports pictogram? That's athletics. Can you identify the sports pictogram? That's basketball. Can you recognize the sports pictogram? That's sailing. Do you know what the sports pictogram represents? That's tug of war. Can you name the sports pictogram? That's snowboarding. Which sport does this pictogram represent? That's tennis. What sport is represented by this pictogram? That's archery. This pictogram represents which sport? That's water skiing. What sport does this sports pictogram represent? That's gymnastics trampoline. Remember the sports pictogram position. Where's athletics? That's right! Athletics is in box 1. Can you identify the sports pictogram? That's badminton. Can you recognize the sports pictogram? Volleyball indoor. Do you know what the sports pictogram represents? That's swimming. Which sport does this pictogram represent? That's synchronized swimming. What sport is represented by this pictogram? That's diving. This pictogram represents which sport? That's alpine skiing. Do you know what the sports pictogram represents? That's weightlifting. Which sport does this pictogram represent? That's field hockey. What's the name of this sports pictogram? That's croquet. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's equestrian. What's this sports pictogram called? That's lacrosse. Do you recognize the sports pictogram? That's polo. Do you recognize the sports pictogram? That's biathlon. What's the name of this sport pictogram? That's golf. What's the name of this sports pictogram? That's triathlon. Find 3 sport names. Yes, you right, it's polo, football, and tennis. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's wrestling. What's this sport pictogram called? That's taekwondo. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's cycling mountain biking. What's this sports pictogram called? That's gymnastics artistic. Can you name this sports pictogram? That's baseball. Can you recognize the sports pictogram? That's handball. Do you know what the sports pictogram represents? That's karate. Can you name the sports pictogram? That's softball. Which sport does this pictogram represent? That's judo. What sport is represented by this pictogram? That's squash. This pictogram represents which sport? That's volleyball beach. What sport does this sports pictogram represent? That's cycling road. Which sport does this pictogram represent? That's bowling. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's rugby union. This pictogram represents a sport. Can you guess which one? That's water polo. Remember the sports pictogram position. Where's golf? That's right. Golf is in box 4. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's fencing. What's this sports pictogram called? That's table tennis. Can you name this sports pictogram? That's cricket. Can you recognize the sports pictogram? That's cycling BMX. Do you know what the sports pictogram represents? That's ski jumping. Have you seen the sports pictogram before? That's canoeing slalom. What's the name of this sports pictogram? That's curling. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's speed skating. What's this sport pictogram called? That's modern pentathlon. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's short track speed skating. What's this sports pictogram called? That's futsal. Can you name this sports pictogram? That's figure skating. Can you recognize the sports pictogram? That's canoeing flatwater. Do you know what the sports pictogram represents? That's skeleton. Can you name the sports pictogram? That's cycling track. Find 3 sport names. Yes, you right, it's golf, luge, and karate. Which sport does this pictogram represent? That's luge. What sport is represented by this pictogram? That's freestyle skiing. This pictogram represents which sport? That's fast pelota. What sport does this sports pictogram represent? That's water motorsports. Which sport does this pictogram represent? That's gymnastics rhythmy. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's mountaineering. This pictogram represents a sport. Can you guess which one? That's track and field. What sport does this pictogram represent? That's ice hockey. What's this sports pictogram called? That's wushu. Can you name this sports pictogram? That's billiard. Can you recognize the sports pictogram? That's javelin throw. Great job, everyone! How many sports did you guess correctly? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fun challenges. See you in the next video.